Gemma. Gemma. Welcome, Gemma. Welcome, Will.
Okay, so we've had several workshops on this, and we had a resolution from Council in December to look at the potential relocation of Tongariro Street. So this item today is effectively looking to move along those lines. The consolidation has been based on a huge amount of research we've done and also worked with a number of different stakeholders. So note here that this will also look at freeing up Gascoigne Street for sale if you went ahead with this move.
Okay, I'll open it up. Councillor Dennard.
Yeah, I think for me personally, even a lot of this information, I didn't know that how much of the Tongariro is already used for bus stations, and I think there's a misconception out there in the public that with closing down the Gascoigne Street, or shifting the services onto Tongariro Street, that there's going to be this new big facility, but in reality it's already 80% being used as a bus station virtually, isn't it, with these figures that go here with bus movements and 11 of the 17 sites already on Tongariro Street. So I think
daily it appears to be happening by natural attrition.
Well, I'll also point out, both the tenants in Gascoigne Street are just on monthly leases at the moment, so they could walk away at any time, in which case we'd be forced to bring an item to you looking at future options for that site anyway. So,
Councillor Mincher.
Just one question here, Will. In the aerial photo, you sort of got a triangle area now as a shelter. Are you thinking of doing a different type of shelter area than sort of you first proposed? Is it more of a depth thing? Is it that's just the area you're talking about?
Just initial concept where we were looking.
Yeah.
Councillor Hickling.
So, because I think the original concept was that the shelter was going to be along Tongariro Street. Was that? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, and the shelter's still on Tongariro Street.
But the triangle's not on Tongariro Street, is it? It's on local purpose reserve.
It's on the land immediately adjacent to the road, so you have to leave obviously the footpath clear.
So
and
it's on reserve.
Yeah, so it's basically where the existing shelter is. It's going to replace that. So it's actually indicated as a shelter/waiting area. So on the green reserve, there'll still be some green stuff there. It's just that the shelter will be slightly bigger to accommodate extra people.
Has there been any design done on the shelter?
We had an initial concept which we put up to the workshop in June, and we'll bring the final design back to council to approve.
That was virtually.
So you're saying that the present shelter that's there is on local purpose reserve?
That's correct.
I disagree. I'm sorry.
Oh well, if it's not, then the other one won't be. So.
The existing shelter will be moved up the road in the same distance off it, and will be replaced by the shelter in exactly the same place as the current one now.
But as a different design?
Yes.
Bigger?
Yes, to accommodate for the different range of the increased number of people using it.
That was a double-sided design, wasn't it too? Like the other day, the rain was coming, the shelter was useless the other day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Councillor Mincher.
My other question, Will, was just to do obviously have you had discussions? Obviously, I've read the notes, but the taxi thing that can progress quite nicely as well. There, that completes this picture we're talking about.
Yeah, so I had a conversation with the taxi organisation this morning, and again that'll be a separate item to this one. So we just want to get this squared away, and if we go ahead, then we can then sit down and talk turkey with the taxis.
Keen to be involved, as they see this logical for them as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything further? So you're quite comfortable what's going to happen here? That well, there's a lot of buses there at the moment, I must admit. I think it would definitely aid and abet the eyesight, which certainly needs help, that's for sure. Well, if there's nothing further, you either support it or you don't. And sorry, Councillor Downard.
I suppose for me, I'd like to see a design of that shelter in that area, because that whole area that we've done with the Clocatea and the Senator and all that, it's looking really, really nice down there, and I'd like to see that blends in there with it, that it's not some obstructive looking shelter that's just plonked there. So yeah, I think that would all have to go in with seating and design and stuff like that, really, before I give the actual final tick for me personally.
Well, do you want to add, Councillor Hickling?
I'd support that. That's really my concern, Your Worship.
Oh, well, I was just going to address that.
And,
what I'm thinking here is, there's a suggested resolution 9/1, it goes 1 and 2. Why don't we word something into make it 3? Because you've got an unbudgeted capital expenditure of 100k. Doesn't say plus or minus GST, and I'm presuming it's plus GST, because I don't like figures coming to council without that being stated, as I've said many times, because we do deal in the GST world. Why don't you add something to number 3 that bus shelter design to be approved by council? Does that cover it?
Yeah, I'm reasonably comfortable with the Tongariro Street and moving of the buses. My real concern is we've now finished up with a triangle. Okay, it's local purpose reserve. I'm quite aware of what can happen on a local purpose reserve. But from the first reports, it was always stated that we would keep it on Tongariro Street. And so my concern is we're taking green space up. Okay, it's a planted garden to put in a shelter which we're not aware of the design of. So unless that's taken out of the resolution so that we can at least move the buses, I'd have to vote against it. But if there's some way that we can have that come back to us.
Well, let's put a number 3 here. How do we word it? Did my wording before sound any good? That bus design concept, or bus concept / design to be approved by full council? Is that something?
That's one option. Another option is that you only have item 1, and then 2 and 3 are brought back to you in a separate meeting.
Why take the budgeted capital out of the resolution? Why do that?
Because that will potential bus shelters.
Yeah, we might have a more detailed costing and design of it then.
Is that what fellow councillors want?
Yep, I'm happy with that.
Okay, so suggested resolution, we'll just move on number 1 at this stage, and we will leave number 2 out of the suggested resolution. To be further, I would suggest, please, workshop then bought, so we could have a look at several designs and all have freedom of speech and bash the thing around. So let's just go with suggested resolution number 1. Do I have a mover? Or did you want to say something, Councillor?
I was just going to say, even as a walk through down on the site to make sure that we're comfortable.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? That's quite important.
We're only doing number 1 at the moment, and number 2 follows, what we're saying. Is that a moving? Moving Councillor Johnson, a seconder. Seconder Councillor Truman, all in favour? Aye. Now we only moved item number 1. Okay, what have we been going now? Okay.